YouTube Ozick in the Goat House is back with my NFL Week 12 score predictions, predicting every score to every game every single week. Also, junior score predictions are on the Patreon, so those are separate. If you sign up to get those, you also get playoff predictions updated every single week and 2020 NFL mock drafts updated every single week with the updated order, along with the score predictions, of course. All that is every single week. Plenty more on the Patreon, plenty more to come, always adding stuff. So patreon.com/thegoathouse. There is a link in the description for more info on that. 40K, that's our subscriber goal by the end of the year, so please help us out by subscribing. We're getting close. We're trying to get there by 2020. It's going to be a close one, so we really appreciate you if you subscribe. It'll be well worth it for you, though, because we got full NFL content, not just in season, even in the off season, full coverage of free agency and the NFL draft. Click that like button. Check us out on Twitter at GoatHouseNFL, always tweeting during live games. There is a link in the description for the Twitter as well. Week 12 score predictions, a lot of good games. If you watched our straight up picks with the other Goat House members, there was a lot of games we all picked the same team, but there's a lot of games we were kind of split. So it should be an interesting week here. Let's start with the Thursday night game, which is definitely one of the tougher ones to pick, maybe the toughest one to pick of the week. But I also said that about the Colts game last week, which wasn't so close. I did pick the Colts, but it was a lot easier for the Colts than I thought it would be. But I got the Colts actually winning against the Texans 23-21. I see most people picking the Texans, and if you watched our picks video, you saw that I was the only one that picked the Colts. I'm sticking to it. T.Y. Hilton, I think, plays. That kind of has a lot to do with it. I think he plays. He's questionable at the moment. But if he does not play, I may lean Texans. But I think T.Y. Hilton, he usually does dominate in Houston. And I think he could just be, not really just because he dominates in Houston, but because he's kind of the difference maker there. He gives the Colts offense that edge. They're not going to have Marlon Mack, but they have a very good offensive line. They'll figure out the running game. They'll use multiple different running backs. Jonathan Williams did look pretty good in the second half last week against the Jags, though, so they could go him to start. But Nyheim Hines, I think, will be. They said, Frank Reich's coming out saying they're going to use Hines as a similar role. I think that and some. I think he plays a lot more snaps now, and they're going to try to get creative with him. So I don't think no way he's going to be the every down back, but I think they're going to use him. Yeah, the same role, but way more snaps, and that's what people really aren't expecting. I'm sure Colts fans do. So we'll see. I think they get creative. Another reason would be for the Colts, short week. I got to go with the much better coaching staff. I'm not a big believer in Bill O'Brien. Another week with the Texans without J.J. Watt, the longer that exists, the easier it'll be for teams to kind of figure out where we beat this defense. It's not at all a bad defense without J.J. Watt. It's gonna be tough for the Texans to hold some of these teams, and I think Brissett being in there, people kind of think of the Colts, they think they just lost to the Steelers and the Dolphins, but you got to remember that Brissett didn't play in those games. Really, bottom line, this should be a good game. They're plus 3.5. I like them to win, but again, it's the toughest game to pick of the week. I just don't see them losing by more than 3, though, so that one looks pretty good there. So I do like the Colts, but like I said, a lot of people picking the Texans this week. So I'm a little nervous about this one already this week. So I can't wait for that one though. Next game is the Bucs and the Falcons. The Bucs are plus 4.5. They're looking very sloppy, especially coming off that game against the Saints, which I thought they would win. It was a wild card pick, but I thought they could win that game. And the Falcons, now I'm picking the Falcons. There's something's telling me, as soon as I pick the Falcons, they're gonna blow it for me. So that could very well happen. And I just picked the Bucs to upset the Saints, and a week later I pick against them. It's just something, I bet other people kind of feel like that sometimes too. And I gotta go with the Falcons though. I gotta go with them. Jameis Winston. He had a minor ankle injury last week, so nothing major, but that is still something in the back of my mind. Also, he's just throwing the ball to the wrong team. The Falcons' defense is getting better. And something about the Falcons, it seems like a totally different team. The game plan's different. I guess the coaching staff, swapping roles, I guess could cause that. And there's not too much of a game plan to be done on the Falcons here, and that is kind of the reason to pick the Falcons. I also think they're the better team. They're better on offense. They are safer on offense. I think you know what I mean by that. Jameis Winston throwing the ball to the wrong team. Matt Ryan should take care of the ball. Defensively, they're pretty even. For most of the year, the Falcons have been worse, but lately they've been much better. So I got the Falcons at home here. Maybe they're just better away. We're going to learn a lot about the Falcons this week. It's a strange season for them, but they have talent, obviously, and so do the Bucs. But I got to go with the Falcons by 3 here. The Bucs are plus 4.5. I don't know if that's one I would touch because the Falcons have been giving it to some pretty solid teams. So you never really know with them. I'm still, we pretty much got a good identity on every team in the NFL. Do we have one on the Falcons right now? I think it's the one team where we really don't have a firm one. So that's why you don't really put money on these types of games. But we'll see. I got the Falcons by 3 though. Broncos and Bills. I got the Bills winning 26-17. Broncos, they've had so many games they could have and maybe should have won this year, and is the life kind of sucked out of them? That's what I question there. But I don't want to doubt those guys. There's a lot of good players, and not in terms of talent, really. Well, yeah, but what I mean is, it's a lot of likable players because they bring good energy. Their minds are always right, and they keep them in these types of games that they really shouldn't be in. Against the Vikings, they outplayed them for a whole half in Minnesota, and they've done it against other teams too. But the Bills, I think that Dolphins game was kind of one of those momentum changers, especially for Josh Allen. So I think they get the job done here. I don't see the Broncos really going off. The Bills' defense is much better than the Vikings' defense. They were able to use Courtland Sutton in a dominant way against the Vikings, which I think he can be. I love me some Courtland Sutton. I think he can be good in this game, but it's not a whole bunch you can do against that secondary. It's a totally different matchup. The Bills are home. I think they get a turnover on defense as well. They'll win this game 26-17. The Broncos are plus 4. Surprised it was that low, but they are playing some good teams. They only lost by 4 against the Vikings. So as you can see there, I guess it could be 3, and that's what could make it scary. I like the Bills here, though. I got them winning by 9, so it's definitely an interesting game. Let's see if Josh Allen can keep that streak alive without throwing an interception. I believe it's 160 passes without interception. Very impressive. The Giants and the Bears, I'd say between the Colts, Texans, the Giants, Bears, and maybe Packers, Niners, I'd say those are the 3 toughest games to pick on the week. I am back and forth on this game. I'm going to go with the Bears. I was surprised to see them -6. Favored by 6 in this game. That's kind of a lot, but at the same time, it's scary to put money on that too because the Giants could lose by a touchdown, but something that the Bears don't do very well or can't get a lot of is score touchdowns, and that's why it's scary. The Giants have been putting up decent points on pretty much anybody they play. Even though they've been losing, it really hasn't been the yards gained and the points scored problem. You could blame it on the offense a little bit with some play calling down the stretch and some fumbles, we'll say, by Daniel Jones. So what I'm getting at is the Giants may just be able to score even though the Bears got a good defense, and can the Bears keep up? It seems like they can't keep up with anybody no matter who they play. So that is the scary thing. But even though they've been scoring on some teams, they haven't played the Bears defense, even though it's nowhere near as good as it was last year. And I think it's because you're missing Akeem Hicks and because you're always on the field. So it's almost the same defense. But I think that extra play is made by Khalil Mack, but he hasn't really done anything since the Vikings game early in the year. He has to do something here. You pretty much, a little harsh here, but you pretty much got to breathe on Daniel Jones. He's going to fumble the ball. That's a problem. Love the way he's throwing the ball. And I love what, his mechanics, his footwork all look great. Just, got to hang on to that ball. So I think the Bears can make that extra play. I'm still looking to see who plays quarterback. I'm going to say Trubisky. Chase Daniel struggled against the Giants last year. I don't know if it really changes much. I just think the Bears make that extra play on defense, and it's not like they're playing the Rams defense. Giants defense a little easier to move the ball on, but we'll see. That's another toss-up game there. Next game is the Steelers and the Bengals. As you can see, I got low scoring, and I got the Steelers winning 17-13, -6.5, so pretty close call there. Most people probably think they can win by a touchdown. That's why that 6.5 is very tough. But a lot of injuries. No James Conner. I don't like the way Jalen Samuels is carrying the ball. I mean, yeah, if you have him in fantasy, he's getting you some decent points, but if you actually watch the game, he doesn't have that burst to the hole. He doesn't really have that vision. And part of that was he wasn't really a true running back at NC State. He was kind of that H-back, almost played tight end, a slot tight end at times, a step off the ball, off the line there, I should say. So that could be the reason why, they're just not healthy at the position. They're not healthy at the receiver position. I think James Washington could have a big game here. Him and Mason Rudolph can get that old connection going a little bit. You can see they're very close to getting it. There's so many bare misses or maybe ones that James Washington could have would want back. So I think he can get going this game. And the defense wins the game, though. The front seven is pretty darn good. The secondary been playing way better than it is on paper. That could be due to adding Minkah Fitzpatrick, which makes them better on paper and on the field. So I think that's enough to win the game. I don't think they'll have a whole bunch of offense. I just don't see Ryan Finley kind of taking over here. They could go Joe Mixon. He can have a decent day, but nothing crazy. I just don't like the Bengals defense enough to hold them to, around the amount they would score in the game. So I like the Steelers 17-13. Steelers defense wins it for them. James Washington should be good this game. I picked him up in fantasy. I'm trying to figure out if I should play him or not because, he's the guy. He's the guy for the Steelers this game. So we'll see. The Dolphins and the Browns 27-20. Another weird one to pick. I'm confident in the Browns, not insanely confident. I'm confident in them. The Dolphins have been putting up more points than expected, so that's why I got them putting up 20. No Myles Garrett means really no pass rush. They got other guys that can get after the quarterback here and there, but talking consistent pass rush, which is very important. That could be the key to the Dolphins getting 20 points, maybe a little more than expected. The secondary of the Browns has been playing better, but Morgan Burnett is now out for the season, so that's pretty tough. But Denzel Ward getting better, obviously, because he came in back from injury just a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, we'll say, around there, and he's been playing better. So the defense is pretty solid, but the lack of the pass rush. But the Browns have so much talent on offense. They're getting better on offense because they get Kareem Hunt back. I want them to use him more. Not that I want Nick Chubb's role to decrease or anything. It's just more of Kareem Hunt's that good. So really no reason why they shouldn't score, around 27 points. I got them winning by 7. A little worried about the Browns defense, though. It was something that was getting better now at Myles Garrett that he really hurt the team. He really did, but I still got them winning. The Dolphins are getting a lot of points there, though, 10.5. That's a bit. It's a bit right there. Panthers and Saints, 10 points, and I got it 10 points on the dot, 27-17 Saints. The Saints are just a better team. They're home. They'll get things going on offense. Nothing insanely crazy. They won't go in the 30s again, I don't think, but pretty close to the 27. The Panthers. Offense is just super inconsistent. 1 week it's McCaffrey he's got the backpack on, and that backpack, it's got a lot in it. It's heavy. It's real heavy. And then there's weeks where Kyle Allen looks great. They really get DJ Moore going, courtesy pretty much everybody going. They need more help on offense, though. They definitely need more help. Offensive line was real rough last week, so we'll see how it is against the Saints. I just don't think they can put up – I don't know if they can keep up scoring with the Saints, what I'm getting at. So I got them getting 17. It's just which Kyle Allen's going to show up. Real rough last week. He had some crucial mistakes in the Packers game. At the same time, he had some big-time moments in the Packers game. I like what I see from him. He's got to take care of the ball better. He has the mechanics. He has the arm strength. He has – I guess the field vision, he goes through his progressions as well. So I like what I see from him, but a game like last week is really rough. When I say things like that, it kind of hurts me a little bit what I see last week. But I like his future. I just don't think they can keep up with the Saints here. But who knows? Maybe the Saints that played the Falcons show up, but the Panthers that played the Falcons just showed up last week. So it's a strange one. But I like the Saints. Raiders and Jets. I got the Raiders winning by 5. They're minus 2.5. This could be a sneaky one for them. They cut it. They made it close against the Bengals, which is a little scary, but I think they were kind of more worried about running the clock, so don't blame them at all there. The Jets are kind of a sneaky team. They'll be much better on offense than the Bengals. The Raiders' defense could be getting better. It actually looks like it's getting better, but it's still not one of those, top-tier defenses, obviously. But the pass rush duo, the rookie duo, they're getting better. Crosby, he's got a little energy and momentum now, so I think he can get going in this game. He can make some big-time plays. That is the difference in this game. So I'm actually looking for the Raiders' defense. I trust their offense. I don't know if they'll go too crazy. I just think they're the better team. They're rolling. They got the momentum, like I said. They're a totally different team than the very beginning of the season. So I like them in this game. Don't have full trust in Darnold yet. He'll make that. Even last game where he played good. He made the big plays. He still had that one he's due for one of those off the back foot, just throw it up for grabs or throw it in the wrong spot. He's due for one of those. And if you give one of the Raiders, they're pretty dangerous with the ball too. Eric Harris can bring one back. You see Trayvon Mullen can bring one back. So you can't do that, and that could be the difference there. On top, I do think the Raiders are the better team, but it is in New York. It should be a decent game there. The Seahawks and the Eagles, I got the Seahawks winning 27-20, and they're plus 1.5. Could be a sneaky one, could be a trap game for them, but I like the Seahawks. And really, first glance at this game, I'm thinking, I could see this one being one of those ones. The Eagles just get, and towards the end of the season, they just get it. But really thinking about the matchup, the Eagles' offensive line's beat up. The receivers are beat up. They should get some guys back, but Lane Johnson still questionable. I don't know if he plays. And it seems like every time you get a guy hurt in the Eagles' offensive line, you throw him back in there, they get hurt again. I haven't really been thrilled with Andre Dillard when he's filled in. He has a bright future. And then when the offensive line's not at its best, Carson Wentz is definitely not at its best. I don't think it's a bad performance of the offense, but I just don't think they can do enough. You're looking at the Eagles secondary. It was that was what everyone was picking on. Everyone around that watches the NFL, they're picking on the Eagles secondary every week. Everyone's throwing on them. And they kind of figured it out a little bit. They got Ronald Darby back. They've been playing a little better the last, I guess, more than a few weeks. But you haven't played Russell Wilson yet, the best quarterback in football possibly. You argue him or Lamar Jackson for the MVP conversation there. And you haven't played him. You haven't played him off a bye. So I think they do enough on offense there, the Seahawks that is, to win the game. Another guy that's heating up is Jadeveon Clowney. He can be getting after Carson Wentz. But this is kind of the game. If the Eagles win this game, it shifts things big time. If they lose the game, it's disappointing because the season's not looking great. They're still not out of reach of the Cowboys. And it's not the end of the world if you lose to a good team like the Seahawks. But if they win this game, just think of the shift in momentum. What they have. That would be. This is a big game for the Eagles. A very, very big game for the Eagles. So we'll see if they can pull it off. It's just haven't been super impressed with Carson Wentz, and the offensive line's been beat up. Receivers obviously they need to get better at. But I like the Seahawks in this game for all those matchup reasons. But the Eagles sneaky here. Could be sneaky. Lions 24, Redskins 20. The Lions are minus 3.5. I got them barely escaping there. That line. Another very tough one to pick. We expect Jeff Driscoll to play. Haven't heard anything on Stafford. I think there's still somewhat of a chance he could play this week, but there's also some sort of chance he could miss the entire season. So they'll play it safe. They'll do what's smart, I suppose. Driscoll played pretty decent against the Bears, and then last week against the Cowboys, he played pretty darn well. Given the circumstances too, he's getting better. So that's a good thing. The Lions offense is always going to score up points. They're always going to put up points. Even with Bo Scarborough at the running back, that's not the ideal situation. But the guy can give you some solid carries. But they're still going to put up the points, but they're giving up a lot. And that's why this one is tough to pick. Maybe you would think a little more higher scoring, I'd say. The Redskins don't have enough on offense, even though I believe in Haskins. I believe in him. Get a little better connection him with the offensive line possibly. Let's get McLaurin going a little more. Haskins, let's get him rolling out of the pocket. I know he has to be able to get there. Talking about the offensive line, the protection. The Lions haven't been crazy good in pass rush this year, which we kind of expected them to be. Haskins needs to roll out of the pocket. He can make some big plays outside of the pocket. That could be the key to victory. And the Redskins defense on paper, mainly the front seven, pretty good. Let's see if they show up. It's a toss-up. It's really a toss-up game. I know everyone's picking the Lions, and you see I picked the Lions, but it's really a game that can go either way. Probably not one I would put money on. It should be an interesting game, even though it's not the most viewed one. Probably it should be an interesting game. I'm excited to watch Haskins in this game. I am. Next game, Jags and Titans. Another tough one to pick. I got the Titans though, 24-20. It's a 3-point line. Another one I wouldn't touch either way. The Titans seem to always beat the Jags every year. It seems like they beat them twice. Earlier in the year, the Jags beat them. Titans make a quarterback change. The reason the Jags beat them the first time is because the pass rush. It was a downpour of a game too, so that changed some things. But their pass rush really got after Mariota, changed some things. They won the game. Beginning of that game, I remember Dory Jackson had a real bad fumble. Not a smart decision. Again, it was raining. So I don't think you really could take anything away from that game. The Titans are home this time. They got a lot of momentum from that Chiefs game. Derrick Henry is the guy all of a sudden that I thought he would be. Early in the year, a little disappointing. It could be the fault of the play calling, not really him. But now he looks like even a top 5 running back in the NFL, which I thought he would be. So it's looking great. I think he gets, guys like Jonathan Williams got going against the Jags. Marlon Mack had 100 yards plus. He gets hurt. Jonathan Williams has 100 yards plus. Looks like a lot of giving up from the Jags defense, though. I don't like that. So I think Derrick Henry's the difference maker in this game. You look at the defenses. Yeah, the Jags got a better pass rush. The rest of the defense, the Titans get the edge. I like them. That Chiefs win is we've seen it every year from a team. Every year a team has that crazy win, like mid to late season, that really just changed everything. That felt like one of those wins, but they had a bye in between. So could that have ruined it? We will see. I like the Titans here. Derrick Henry runs wild, wins the game. Cowboys, Patriots. I got a very tight one, 24-23. This should be a good game. Really like the Cowboys offense. The defense has been slacking a little bit. They do have the playmakers to turn that around, though, on defense. Patriots, the offense has been very disappointing. The defense has been solid, but they haven't really played the best offenses. Now they're playing the best offenses they've seen after the Ravens, and we saw what the Ravens did to them. So the Cowboys could also do something, somewhat similar. So the Cowboys offense could really win them the game here, and the Patriots not having enough offense could really lose them the game here. You're looking at last week, Patriots-Eagles. If you take the Eagles away, you put the Cowboys in that same exact game. The Cowboys win that game, but I think the Patriots at home, that's a huge difference. Get more offense, much more offense than they did last week, and only 7 points more, but playing the Cowboys, I think it's a good amount more. A difference between, going to Dallas, playing inside. They're inside the dome, and then you're going to Foxborough. You're outside. It's November here. A little bit of a difference. Dak's been playing absolutely great. I'm a big Dak Prescott fan. I love his game. Loved his game at Mississippi State. But they're playing. I think you'll have a good game. So don't get me wrong here. I think you'll have a good game. But you go back, you look at the Vikings game. He did early in that game. He did have a couple turnover-worthy plays that the Vikings dropped. I think if that happens against the Patriots, they will catch the ball. But Dak's been playing great, so I'm not sitting here predicting he's going to have a bunch of turnovers. But that could be the difference maker. The Patriots offense will be back in this type of game. The Cowboys offense will be good because it is very good. If something like that happens, that could be the difference maker. I think you can run on the Patriots. Zeke's got to get things going. He really hasn't been able to get anything going. Cowboys, it's weird. It's like you can't have everything at once. You just can't. The offense is finally great. The defense with the playmakers, it's struggling. It shouldn't be struggling that much. And then, like I said, the passing game, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb, they've been great. The offense line's been great. But now all of a sudden you have your star running back. That's not great. You just can't have everything at once. It's got to be tough there. It's got to be tough. I got the Patriots winning by 1. Being home is the difference maker there. Packers, Niners, like I said earlier in the video, this is up there for the toughest game to pick. I got the Niners 27-24. I've been picking the Niners in these big games at home, primetime games, just crucial games. It's been working for me. So that was the first thing that popped in my head, why I got to go with the Niners. Another reason is if that Chargers game just didn't happen, that Chargers game did not happen, I may be picking the Packers because that's kind of stuck in the back of my head. Do I think that's something that's going to come up, going forward and screw them over a big time in the long run? No, I really don't think so. But it could be something in this game. Why? Because you're in San Francisco. Because that defense is run. It's the same system. It's the same defense, and you even have a Bosa brother. And then that's actually a really good comparison of the defense. Not because they're brothers. Those two play the same position, and Dee Ford and Melvin Ingram, the same exact type of pass rusher. Dee Ford is out of the game, though. That could be a difference maker. That's unfortunate for the Niners. They've dealt with injuries this year. Hasn't really looked like it phased them. Dee Ford hasn't been as good as Nick Bosa, but he's still bringing a good amount of pressure. Well-rested offensive line for the Packers could be the difference. So you can see I'm kind of back and forth here. The Packers' defense has not been the same since the beginning of the season. I think the Niners they're one of the best in running to the ball at a high level to open up the passing game. You see it early in the game. Garoppolo's usually off a little bit early in the game. We've seen them against the Seahawks early in the game. We've seen them against the Cardinals. There was really nothing going, and all of a sudden exploding big-time plays, especially in the Cardinals game, but there was some crucial big-time plays in the Seahawks game kind of here and there down the stretch, and it's because of the Niners' offense, and the Packers have been struggling against the run, so I think that getting the run game going early, the Packers kind of on their toes worrying about the run can open up the passing game for Jimmy G, make that extra play. Packers secondary really good at getting their hands on the ball, though, making plays. So that Jimmy G's got to take care of the ball. No more red zone interceptions. That's brutal. If that happens in this game, the Packers will win. So this should be a hell of a game. The Packers are the Niners are favored by 3. I have them winning by 3. So it's right on the line there. I think it really will be a 3-point game, even if the Packers win. So if it was in Lambeau, I may pick the Packers this one. It's that good of a game. A lot on the line here. A lot on the line. Ravens and Rams. I got the Ravens winning 24-16. They're just better. Monday night, being in LA could shift some things. Sometimes the better team always doesn't play better, especially like that. But the Rams defense has been good. They haven't seen Lamar Jackson yet. They haven't seen this team yet. 24 points should be enough because the Ravens, I'm telling you, statistically, they don't have the best defense right now, but they very well may have the best defense. And by the time the year is over, I'm pretty confident they may have the best defense in the NFL. So they'll be getting after Goff. He has not been good this year. I want them to throw the ball downfield a little better. I think Goff's got a better downfield ball than people are realizing, than maybe McVay realizes. I like the Ravens, though. Better team, both sides of the ball. Rams have been winning on defense. Don't know if they can do it on this one. They got to create some crazy turnovers. Aaron Donald's got to be dominant, but they're going to run Lamar Jackson outside because Aaron Donald inside there, and it's going to be on those edge rushers and those corners to come up, and corners got to contain. Edge rushers got to push them out. I just don't think they can. I don't know if they can handle them. Marcus Peters versus Jalen Ramsey here in this game. So that should be interesting as well. Marcus Peters has been great. Both been great for their team. Jalen Ramsey, you expect. Marcus Peters, he's angry. He's playing angry. He's out to prove something. Got to love that about him. I got the Ravens in that one. Should be an interesting game, though, Monday night in L.A. That's going to do it for my score predictions. Junior score predictions are up on the Patreon for this week. Go check them out if you want to see. We have 5 games different. We have 5 games different this week, and I'm beating him on the year by 6, so that could really change some things there. Check that out. More content on there. More content on the channel here. More to come. Please subscribe. Trying to get to that 40K goal. Really appreciate you guys for being here. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.